This module explores fiscal policy using the AE model. So here we're talking about fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is the use of government spending or taxation to manipulate economic outcomes. So your government would step into an economy where it wasn't doing well and do things like increase government spending in order to cause outcomes to be more favorable. So this is before fiscal policy, and this is after fiscal policy. So we know from the first module that AE tells us that C plus I plus G plus NX, we stack all those up and get our AE line, right? Our AE would be here, this is the AE curve, and it would cross the 45-degree line right here, and this is macroeconomic equilibrium. We're going to be moved towards that point based on that inventory adjustment, and the economy is going to settle there, and GDP in this country would be $100 billion. Okay? Maybe the government doesn't think that $100 billion is big enough. Maybe there's a lot of unemployment. So if it wanted to address that, fiscal policy, one way that it could use fiscal policy is to simply increase government spending. And when it increases government spending, watch what happens. So I hasn't changed, right? I is the same right there. That's the same as that I. G was, whatever that was, 50 billion or whatever that was. It then becomes bigger. The government spends more to stimulate growth. So that piece has to get taller. So instead of drawing it right here, I'm going to draw it higher. Look how much bigger I made it, right? It's that wide instead of that wide. Then we're going to leave net exports the same. That's that distance right there, so we'll leave that the same. Net exports. And then from there, we're going to go our positive slope on consumption. So that gives us that. And then here, we're going to lay a line right on top of that sandwich that we built, C plus I plus G plus NX. And that's AE, right? You don't need all those colors. That's what we're really after. But this is what's important. This becomes the new macroeconomic equilibrium. And this might be $120 billion, right? This is where these two equal. That's where it's going to settle in. So that's $120 billion. So what we observe out of this is a government that wants to stimulate economic growth might use fiscal policy to do that by increasing government spending. And when they do, the G slice of this sandwich, the G part of the aggregate expenditure model gets taller. And here you can illustrate after fiscal policy, it is taller. You can see that in the illustration. These other pieces are the same. Consumption is the same. But when G gets taller, it pushes the whole stack up, and the point of equilibrium is no longer here. When the stack gets pushed up, that point slides out, and it slid out to there, and now GDP settles in at $120 billion. We know before GDP was $100 billion, now it's $120 billion. So this economy clearly has gotten bigger, and that was the goal of increasing GDP by increasing government spending. That's called fiscal policy when that happens.